Today I'm doing something called cool lime vegetables, and that cool is the key word in this case because these vegetables are actually going to be served either at room temperature or a little bit cooler so that you don't have to do it all at the last minute. It makes a great dish. It's a side dish, but it's almost like a salad, but not quite. What we're first going to do is steam some vegetables, and this, as all recipes like this, is real flexible. So if you want to switch out the vegetables that you've got here, you may need to adjust the steaming times. Just make sure that you have about the same amount of vegetables. I'm going to start with 5 cups of vegetables, and the first one I'm putting in there is 2 cups of sliced zucchini. And just 2 medium zucchini. Again, it doesn't have to be exact. And then also in there, I'm going to put a cup of mushrooms that I've sliced, and a cup of corn kernels. I want to break those apart, make sure the steam can get to all the parts of them. If you have a steamer, that's fine. This little basket will also work fine. Just make sure you get all your corn. You could use fresh corn. The corn works really nicely because it has a nice sweet flavor to it, and that really accentuates the tartness from the fresh lime that we're going to use later on. So I would use that, but you could substitute carrots. That would also give you some of that sweetness, or peas. Put the lid on it, about 5 minutes steaming. It only takes about 4 minutes, and that's going to depend a little bit on which vegetable you've used to do this. Then we're just going to drain those off. Got the little pan there as well. And make sure that you drain them well because we're going to put a dressing over that. Now you may be thinking, she said we're going to use 5 cups of vegetables, but I only saw 4 go in, and you're right, because the last one that I'm going to put in this time is fresh tomatoes, and I didn't want those to steam. I wanted those to stay nice and fresh. You could substitute red peppers, for instance, and then you would want to steam those. So it just is real variable as to what exactly you want to put in there. So I'm going to set those aside for a minute. And to my little bowl, I'm going to make a dressing. It's 1½ teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil, about 2 tablespoons of fresh lime juice, and ½ teaspoon of dried oregano. And you're just going to whisk those together, just enough to get them blended a little bit. If you had a little bit more time, I'd probably recommend that you let the vegetables drain a little bit more because I'm using zucchini and it tends to drain water for a bit. So let them drain and cool down a little bit more. But you want to go ahead and add the dressing while they're still warm because it'll absorb more of it at that point. Once you have those in there, pour the dressing over it and then mix in the tomatoes and blend everything together, and you have a great dish. And as I said, this is something you can make up a couple of hours before a meal. You could make it up over the noon hour and have it ready for dinner, or make it up in the morning before you go to church and have it ready when you get back. And it holds up fairly well for the next day too, because these vegetables are steamed and already a little bit limp. They're not going to become a lot more limp as time goes by. Very colorful if you choose your vegetables well. You could also do this to make a monochromatic look. It just depends on what you're going for, what your main course is, on how colorful you want things to be. The other nice thing about this is that it adds a different texture. It's full of different textures, but it also adds a different temperature to meals because you have the other parts of your meal are probably going to be warmer. Having something that's nice and cool is a nice change of pace and really makes the meal more appealing from the diner's standpoint. There you go. This will serve 5 people. This is Cool Lime Vegetables for Oklahoma Gardening. This is Barbara Brown.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.